Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode on A Better World with Adrienne. As always, I'm so grateful to be here with you. Thank you for giving your most precious resource, your time, your energy, and your attention to this space. It's my deepest intention that you get exactly what I say in the intro, a place to heal, to up level, to grow, that's free from distraction, that's free from influence and interference from dark forces, from external forces, and we can really just drop in and have conversations about things that really matter, that really move the needle forward for a better world. Before I get into today's topic, a few invitations, reminders. If you want to go deeper into this work with me, 2026 calibration is my immersion I'm leading from December to January. So, this is for you if you want to learn the 2026 astrology, wrap up 2025, learn the key lessons, what worked, what didn't work from 2025, move it forward to advancing your dream in 2026, an incredibly auspicious, important year. We're going to be doing breath work. We're going to be studying astrology. We're going to be in high performance. We're going to be having the time of our lives and really, really calibrating our bodies, minds, and spirits to the energy of 2026. Why? To become grounding places for miracles and God's plan for each of us. So the link to that is in the show notes. I'm enrolling clients for one-on-one Lux mentorship and the Maverick Mystery School. This is the Dior Mystery School for Spiritual Royalty. So if you know you want to work with me long-term in high proximity, the application to this is in the show notes. Go apply and we'll see which one is correct for you and go from there. I also have my Paris retreat happening in February if you want to get in person with me. By the way, Maverick and One-on-One Lux both have in-person elements to it because one of my lessons and deep embodiments I'm taking forward for the rest of my life from 2025 is how important in person is. For me, when I receive from my own mentors and my own retreats, and for you, my clients, my network, my movement, the family that is New Earth Elite. So the links to everything are in the show notes. And I invite you to move on that today. It's the end of 2025. If you're now's the time when you really lock in the ecosystem that's going to support you. And it's either going to be the insurance policy on your dreams, or it's going to be you're either setting yourself up to achieve your dreams, or you're setting yourself up to create the past and to not live your dreams. So if you're surrounded by the same people doing the same things, like if you're doing the same things, you're going to get the same result. And 2026 requires each of us to do something radically, wildly different. Um, and I know in hundreds of clients I've worked with, this work works. For the people who go all in and never quit, it works. It's just a matter of time once you get started. So everything is in the show notes, and I'm excited to drop in with you about today's topic, brain inflammation and your spiritual powers. So let's take a deep breath together. You stretch your arms out. Inhale through your nose. Feel your third eye open. Feel the presence of your brain inside your skull. Exhale out the mouth. And maybe just have just a deep sigh, like an audible sigh. Something I've gotten so crystal clear on that is such an important part of this work and such an important part of whether or not you achieve your potential in this lifetime or not is your physical health, your physical vitality. Okay. That's why the four quadrants of my movement, New Earth Elite, are healthy, wealthy, happy, and free, and why healthy comes first. This is something that honestly I did not realize was my superpower until client after client after client after client told me, "Oh my gosh, our work with Holy Habits changed my life. Oh my gosh, I'm doing these workouts. I changed this thing in my diet, like and everything up leveled after that." I can't tell you how many times people are like focused on, "I want to make more money. How do I make money?" And it's like you actually aren't going to the root of the thing. And then we get their health on lock and they automatically triple, quadruple, like 10x their cash flow, their income because they went to the root of the vessel for all miracles, which is your physical body. Your body is the house for your soul, and you only get one. And most people literally trash their literal temple, the body, the house for their soul. People trash their temple. It's normalized in our society. It's normalized in our world for us to poison ourselves through food, through environment. So, what I really want to speak on today is first just shattering this. Like, I want you to remember that normal, what people perceive as normal is not normal, it's normalized. We live in a sick society. And so, if you want to hear more about this from me, I have a whole episode called How to Transcend a Sick Society. Today, I want to talk about brain inflammation and your spiritual powers. And I'm going to start it with a story. So, first of all, we live in a society that, people just expect, oh, dementia is normal, autism is normal, like all of these things are normal. And what I've seen in my own bloodline is like people go into nursing homes. They pay $10,000 and up a month to barely stay alive. They're in these nursing homes. They're losing their mind, like literally losing their mind from dementia, from Alzheimer's. And it's linked back to in study after study after study, it's linked back to sugar and gut health. And that is all within our powers. So what's happening and this is why I say people it's normalized that people poison themselves because they they people would rather poison themselves and do something just because it's what most people do and then be literally physically sick and ill and lose their minds for the rest of their days at the end of their life. Like people know it's linked back to sugar and gut health. They know that this would change it. They know that, okay, if I take command of my health, if I change my food, if I change my choices, I will not get dementia. I will not get Alzheimer's. And it's the same has been proven with autism with kids. I just was listening to a podcast the other day about how one person, there was a study about someone who had a very extreme bipolar disorder. And actually, I have a sibling who struggles with bipolar and a lot of different things. And do I think we are genetically predisposed to certain ways that our brain operates? Yes. And it's all of it is linked back to gut health and sugar because the gut is the second brain. And your brain will determine whether you access your spiritual powers or not in this lifetime. So I guess the deepest story and anecdote I have, like was guided to this study on bipolar where this person was having extreme manic bipolar episodes and like literally going off the rails in jail, homeless, like doing all this crazy stuff because their brain chemistry was so off. And then what they did, all these different, went to all these different doctors and therapies, and were taking all of these drugs. And what actually healed their manic episodes was a ketogenic diet. Okay. And I've been living a keto, and I don't view it as a diet. I view it as a lifestyle. And I view it as a lifestyle because diets are very much like they bring this energy of instant gratification, like, oh, I'm on a diet right now. Oh, I'm on a diet right now. And it's like that energy is like, oh, this is the time where I'm not poisoning myself. And I'm going to go back to poisoning myself very soon. Don't worry. Like, it's just a temporary thing where I'm like loving myself. But don't worry, I'm going to go back to not loving myself, not respecting myself, not taking care of myself very, very soon. That's the energy of diets. It's this instant, quick hit energy that literally it's darkness. It takes you away from creator. All of this is so connected. And this is why when you get in this work with me, literally the only thing that I'm focused on with you, with all of my clients, everything I care about in this podcast is like, it's got to bring you closer to your relationship with Creator. And the truth is, most people don't want to admit this, but food is a way that people separate themselves with Creator all day, every day. Poisoning yourself is a way that people separate themselves from creator every day, all day. And what is required is education. I guarantee you listening, there's a lot of things I'll mention in this podcast that maybe you have had an idea about or you've heard about it. But like, if we think about what we're taught from a very young age, we are not taught actual health. We are not taught how to actually feed our bodies to prosper. We were taught the food pyramid that was like mostly gluten and sugar, which is horrible for our guts, horrible for our brains. And so a ketogenic diet is a diet of low inflammation. It's high protein, it's high fat, it's low carb. Low carb doesn't mean no vegetables. I actually eat a lot of vegetables. However, I eat a lot of vegetables in a specific way where, I'm not eating nightshades. If I'm eating legumes, I'm soaking them and pressure cooking them. Like the way I cook foods is to there's something called lectin in almost all plants. If you want to go deep into this, I highly recommend the work of Dr. Stephen Gundry. He wrote The Plant Paradox, but it's like all plants we eat, the way they survive in nature is they have a protective shield on their leaves that poisons their predators. That's how they survive, right? In the wild. Well, what happened is that we just eat these poisonous layers and then we wonder why we have gut issues. We wonder why we have leaky gut, why we have acne, why we have, weight gain, why, and then don't get me started on sugar. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. And I actually can say that as someone who used to do cocaine. And it destroys your brain. So I've been pretty radical about my diet since I was a little kid. However, about 10 years ago, I started getting even more radical with it because I realized like I started getting sober and I've always worked out and I've always ate relatively healthy to the general population. However, if you are here in this world and you're here to lead, like you cannot compare yourself to what most people do. Like that literally has nothing to do with you. I want you to be your best and have the most affinity of form with creator possible. Every single year, you should be striving and demanding and commanding that it's your healthiest year ever. Because literally all of your other manifestations and creations come from this place. Okay. So a ketogenic diet healed and heals all of these brain issues, right? They do it with dementia. They do it with Alzheimer's. They do it with autism. A lot of people don't like hearing this because we live in a society that actually it's like people are addicted to this um outsourcing of their own power to change their life. That's why I don't believe in things like Ozempic because it robs you of the process of becoming the person who chooses the long-term blessing rather than instant gratification. If you could just take a pill and fix all your problems, then you stay a victim your whole life. And people don't like this, especially with autism, especially with kids with autism, because they're like, well, my kid was born like this. And it's like, okay, maybe. Also, what are you feeding your kid? Are you feeding them Pop-Tarts? Are you feeding them cereal? Are you allowing them to just eat sugar? It'll be really interesting when I have kids because I'm going to be that mom that teaches my kids about the important that food literally is medicine. And I will make my own baby food. Like I will not allow my kids' brains to be fucking poisoned. And I've seen way too much in my own bloodline with Alzheimer's, with dementia. Um, all of this is optional. That's what I want to tell you. And the I guess the story I wanted to share in this episode, like all of that, like if you have brain fog, it's because your brain, you have inflammation in your brain. I want you to get it really real. Okay, here are the things that are hardline for everyone that are inflammatory for everyone because it's poison. Okay, gluten, especially in the US. And people, here's the thing. People are like, wow, your body's just so sensitive. And it's like, no, I just am not used to poisoning myself. It's just like I used to be able to drink a whole fifth of vodka in one night when I was deep in my substance abuse era. It's not that I just wasn't sensitive. It's because I was used to literally poisoning my body so deeply that my system was just like, this is a normal amount of vodka for us, right? If I took a literally one shot of vodka right now, today, I would probably puke because my body would reject the poison. And by the way, shamans will touch every single drug except alcohol because it's the most toxic in the spiritual realm. Gluten, sugar, sugar's poison. And something that I went through in my own process was like not eating family recipes and everyone's reaction to that. And oh, Adrian's better than, thinks she's better than us, and blah, 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 blah. And I got this download in meditation and had this psychic experience with my grandma. And she was like, well, sugar's always been poison. However, sugar now is even more poison than it was when I was alive because they're adding more toxins to it. Okay? Nightshades, they're poisonous for everyone, right? There are things that are poisonous for everyone, but why don't people do not want the discomfort of changing their food choices. People do not want the discomfort of taking responsibility for the fact that like if I have dementia, it's because I trashed my gut. And it doesn't matter that most people trash their gut. It doesn't matter that most people scroll them like scrolling is a huge one for brain inflammation. It's always about your input. Input first will always matter. This is why you can eat through any amount of exercise, you can scroll through any amount of breath work, you can spend through any amount of money. Um, Input, like what you do externally, like it's always about the input in your body. And fasting is a huge thing for brain inflammation. Humans are not meant to be eating all day every day. There are windows when we're meant to be eating and processing and nourishing our body, and then there are times when we're not supposed to be eating where we are digesting. And the cells go into something called autophagy, where the mitochondria literally clean themselves. It's the same ancient technology that I leverage with all of my clients in breathwork and cosmic cellular breathwork, where you're just letting your body heal itself. Your body is designed to heal itself. If you have any type of dis-ease in your body, and a common one is brain inflammation, you automatically will never achieve your destiny. Why? Because your body is the house for your soul. If the house for your soul is inflamed, if it's in dis-ease, if it's in disarray, your soul will never, ever, ever be able to shine bright as you're meant to in this lifetime. So all of these challenges with brain inflammation, and if you want to go deep with this with me, work with me one on one or get into Maverick. Like, I've never felt so edgy and in my soul purpose because it's way more intimate and vulnerable to change these levels of decisions than it is to start a business or make more money, or it's the root of literally everything of your connection with spirit, the divine, and your soul. And if you love, respect, and trust yourself. And if you're listening to this and you're like, this is all new information, like I don't really know what ketogenic means, like I want you to know like zero shame. This is not taught. That's why you've got to seek it out. You've got to seek out the correct ancient information because the Matrix is not going to tell you. The Matrix literally profits off you being sick and you being misinformed and thinking that certain things are healthy when they're actually horrible for you. Case in point, the diet, like diet Coke, diet this, diet that, or low fat this. A ketogenic diet is actually really high in fat, and it's when you're burning um, ketogens, your body's in ketosis burning fat rather than burning carbs. It's the equivalent of burning a big log to have a big fire that lasts of energy rather than pouring kindling on the fire, which is sugar and carbs, right? So I received the past week, I was just getting in my channel, and this is where it all comes together with spiritual powers and intuition. If you have brain inflammation, you will never ever have command or clarity through your third eye. You will never have command or clarity through your crown chakra, which means you are when you have brain inflammation, you're disassociated from your own body, which means you're disassociated from the physical realm, from your ability to manifest in the physical realm. And brain inflammation that specifically comes from sugar and poisoning yourself through food is you just cannot, it's physically impossible for you to access your intuition. It's physically impossible for you to have visions. It's physically impossible for you to receive downloads from the divine. And you may be listening and you're like, well, Adrian, that's not true. I eat sugar all the time and I have this and I do this and I have that. And it's like, okay, well, if you feel like you have it now, imagine if your health was actually elite, what it would be like. And it's not about never having fun or treats, but it's like, you know what's not fun? Being in a nursing home with dementia. What's actually fun, and your body will stop craving that stuff. Like it happens to all of my clients. They'll be like, I don't even crave those kinds of foods anymore because it just makes me sick. It makes me feel bad. And this episode is like a red pill situation. It's like going sane feels a lot like going crazy. You're waking up. So this is a wake up for like any kind of brain inflammation is a choice that you have made through food and lifestyle choices, whether it's because you're uneducated or unwilling to do things differently than you've done your whole life, or both. You can't say that anymore after this episode. If you want a personalized plan and daily support in all of this, hire me as your mentor. Um, you will never ever access your spiritual powers. You cannot. It's impossible. I've seen it. And did I have macaroons when I was in Paris? Yes. Did I have them in moderation? Yes. Did I get through my body and my intuition which ones were okay and ones weren't? Yes. Like for example, I would have the chocolate one and a coffee one. However, I went to get the raspberry one and I had a huge no in my body and through my oracle. And why was that? Because it had red dye number 40 in it. And I never would have gotten that information if I hadn't cultivated a lifelong skill set of listening to the wisdom of my body and truly being in ceremony of like every single thing I put in my body is either loving me or destroying me. And I mean, there's definitely sugar in the macaroons I ate, but it was so delightful. And it was like, I'm on vacation in Paris. Like, of course I'm gonna get a macaroon in Paris. It's not about never doing that stuff. Because my body is firing on all cylinders and so healthy, my body is actually equipped to process sugar occasionally better than anyone else because I don't have leaky gut, because I have an amazing gut microbiome, because I don't just go get antibiotics anytime I have any kind of symptom. My body is functioning from the ancient codes. So I was getting through my oracle last week, which prompted me all of these studies I came across for the ketogenic diet and brain inflammation and just everything I've seen. You know, one of our family friends actually just passed away from dementia. And I remember, you know, this person was chronically overweight. They weren't living their sole purpose. Whenever we would go out to eat with them, like all they would eat would be like bread and sugar and dairy. Don't even get me started on dairy. It's extremely inflammatory um for most people. And I was like, yeah, no wonder he died from dementia. He literally was poisoning himself his whole life. People, everybody knows this. Common sense is not practice. Rare is the soul who actually takes it seriously. And so I was getting through my oracle mermaid diet, mermaid diet, mermaid diet. And I kept having visions through my third eye of like me swimming in a kelp forest and like picking the kelp and picking the seaweed and making salads out of it. And then I started getting all this information about how I've got to go to Japan in 2026, which I knew it was either 2025 or 2026. I meant to go to Japan. Um, and they're like, you've got to start drinking matcha and you've got to have a mermaid diet. And I was being shown like kelp and seaweed. And so I ordered it. And then come to find out, like most Americans are deficient in iodine, and seaweed actually has really, really, really high iodine. And then I was like, oh, I must be not getting enough iodine. And that's what it was in my body. And I would never have, and so what did I do? I ordered organic seaweed. I started eating this mermaid diet. I ordered this organic matcha with mushrooms in it and just like ceremonial grade. But when you're in tune with your body in this deep, ancient way, and you do not have brain inflammation, by the way, the clarity, the ideas, like people ask me how I have so much content, how I do so much. They're like, you just have so many ideas all the time. And I'm like, well, first of all, I have holy habits that I'm very, very disciplined with my energy, but it's like when you don't poison yourself, you'd be amazing the clarity in your brain. When your brain is not inflamed like most of the population, you are able to do so much. You have energy, you have mental bandwidth, you have fortitude. Like and so when you're in this relationship with your body and you're in deep activation of your spiritual powers, like the way I'm able to manifest, the way I'm able to send telepathic messages and get responses back, like all of this, first of all, you will need moving forward for your soul mission. And yes, you do master this, and I do teach this to you in my client spaces. I never would have gotten those downloads and had those visions through my third eye about the kelp forest and about like, oh, you've got to be on the mermaid diet. Oh, I was getting a message, first of all, about my soul mission and the past lives I am being activated into remembering in this whole Japan thing, which I probably will do a retreat there because that seems to be what happens. It seems like I get called to certain land to be activated, and then I lead a retreat there. So others, New Earth leaders, can be activated too. So I never would have got that, first of all, if I had brain inflammation. And second of all, if I wasn't using food as a vehicle to express my spiritual powers. Because I get things in my meditations of like, you've got to eat this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. The other day I was getting, you've got to eat organic oranges to activate your sacral. Your sacral chakra needs healing. Normally, I would not eat oranges because they have natural sugar. I would only eat them in season, very, very like small quantity. However, I was getting it so strong in my oracle that I listened to that and I felt really, really good. And then I realized, like, oh, you've got to be getting more vitamin C and vitamin D. And I started doing this liquid vitamin and it, you know, shifted everything. I feel so much better. So all of that just started with mermaid diet, and look at how much psychic information I received about my body. Like, I don't need a doctor. I am a fucking doctor. And so are you. I'm a medicine woman. White star, I'm a medicine woman with the star codes, just like, the astrology I just taught on the episode before this, but it's like brain inflammation. You cannot have that to achieve your soul purpose. You really cannot. So that's today's episode. I would love to hear from you. What stuck out to you? Have you ever explored a ketogenic lifestyle? Have you ever lived a low inflammation lifestyle? Do you feed yourself from the ancient codes? Do you know how to feed yourself? And if you're like, actually don't know how to feed myself, there's zero shame. The world's not set up. People don't teach you this, just like people don't teach you to believe in limitless possibility and abundance. You've got to seek that out. You're not just going to be healthy in this world. You've got to seek it out. And I want to teach you that. Like, I want to share, like, and everybody's different. There's things that are overarching, and then there's things that are individual based on your human design, based on literally all the things. So, it's been such a powerful transmission to share this. And I really just want to end on your ability to self-actualize in this lifetime is going to come down to your willingness to master these things. The common sense that nobody actually lives. You're going to make common sense common practice, especially with your physical health, to birth your new earth vision and achieve your potential. And brain inflammation and your destiny don't go together. Dementia is not normal. Alzheimer's is not normal. Like, all of these things are not normal. It's linked to your gut, it's linked to your food choices, and it's linked to your spiritual powers. Like, it's physically impossible for you to access your spiritual powers and the true breadth of your oracle and high performance and what you're here to do if you have brain inflammation, specifically with your third eye and your crown, but it's also linked to your root and your sacral. And it's also linked to your relationship with Mother Earth, because if you're eating poison and toxins instead of the medicine from Mother Earth that she wants to give you, it means you're not in right relationship with Mother Earth yet as your home. So that's today's episode. I hope it served you. I hope it activated something new within you. If you want to go deep into this work, the links to everything is in the show notes. I love you. I believe in you. Let's make a better world, starting with better brains within each of us. If you want to change the world, change yourself first. Go make a stranger smile. Literally sign up to work with me. It's going to be epic. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.